Welcome to another Once Upon a Time Out with Tony podcast. And this is Transformational Storyteller and author Tony Cuckson sharing with you 7 steps to living your happily ever after life experience. And in this week's podcast, I want to return to exploring what I refer to as the first treasure of the beautiful people, the Tuatha De Danann. And this treasure is the stone of destiny. And simply understood, it is the body and the presence expressed within and through the body. Your understanding and your identification with who you believe yourself to be is primarily an identification with the body. You are primarily identified with that form of matter that you call my body. And the first treasure exaggerates that body identification by using the symbol of the stone. Stone, we recognize, is fairly dense matter, and it symbolizes our unfeeling connection to our inner guidance system, that is the voice within. Now, in the story of the 4 treasures of the Tuatha De Danann, the voice in the stone screams when the rightful king or queen of Ireland sits upon it. And you are that rightful king and queen. And the scream for most people is what we call suffering. And any time you suffer, you are being made aware that you have moved away from your kingship or queenship, and this is your sovereign state of oneness or at one-ment. The scream comes in different ways, and this includes divorce, alcoholism, some other form of addiction, a financial crisis, long-term illness. You name it, there is a form of suffering for every one of us. And it is to be understood that this is not any kind of punishment. Now the question then becomes, and the quest then follows, do you want to claim your destiny and end suffering? Do you want to dissolve the identity with the stone and claim your once upon a time happily ever after life experience? And there are many people, even most people, who do not wish to claim their destiny. Suffering is what they know, and what they do not want is to go into what is unknown. For example, there are many of us who will stay in terribly abusive relationships rather than be alone. We fear being alone more than the pain of abuse. The stone of destiny is your body-mind. It will mirror to you through some form of suffering your non-willingness to be the magnificence you are here to be and to express. So the place to begin is to come back to the body in a very conscious way and to listen in a conscious way to the still small voice within. And this is not to be understood as a voice, but as a flow of intelligence which is expressed not as thought, but as knowing. It isn't knowledge in the normal way that we understand the word knowledge. The body has its own intelligence, its own kind of knowing. You are not here to transcend the body, but to allow the body to express the radiance of the divine through you. Your destiny is to know who you are as the shining one you are and are forever. And this experience of shining out into the world, your radiance, is your happily ever after experience, because it arises from the eternal within you. It arises from the timeless within you. For most of your life, you have been listening to other voices. To begin and to continue the journey into your once upon a time, happily ever after life experience, you have to begin to take your own authority. You have to be prepared to be guided by the inner voice. To the extent that you do this, the less there will be the need for screaming through the experience of suffering. And there are many ways to follow the call of destiny. And I am focused on sharing with you the way that is structured by the story The Four Treasures of the Tuatha De Danann. And I begin with the first treasure and move through the others. Now, while this appears to be a linear progression, it is really more a spiral progression. And one thing to mention, this progression is never ending. You do not arrive at your destiny because, paradoxically speaking, you end up in eternity. You end up in that placeless place of forever becoming. It is an eternal progression into love. And this first step, that is the stone of destiny, the call from within, is really the call to adventure. It is the call to trust in the possibility that you are beyond measure and that you are magnificent. And this is not to be confused with some form of narcissism or egomania, which is a gross form of self-hatred, and where the voice in the stone has literally ceased to be heard despite its best efforts. Trust in yourself and the flow of your physical energy is the first step in softening the density of the stone, in softening the body armour. It begins to open up the flow of energy and intelligence that knows how to grow you and expand you into the fullness of who you are and who you are created to be. And I like to say that the first 3 steps into becoming the shining one are trust, then trust again, and then step into trust again. And once you have taken these 3 steps, you will find yourself on higher ground. You will find yourself further up the mountain. And then you take another 3 steps. And these are trust, trust, and trust again. And to remind you of your magnificence, here is a Rumi poem that is very often used in this podcast. And it reminds you that you were born with potential. You were born with goodness and trust. You were born with wings. And this is a reminder to you of your true potential. The focus is on trusting in your goodness, which is beyond the duality of good versus bad. So if you are prepared to move from a life that is screaming at you to claim your wonder, then listen to Once Upon a Time Out with Tony each and every Sunday. And in this podcast, I build upon the story of the 4 treasures of the Tuatha De Danann in order that you can transform your own story. And this is living from your real story, your once upon a time happily ever after story. So if you have not already become a regular subscriber to Once Upon a Time Out with Tony, then you might subscribe now. You simply go to my website at http://TonyCuckson.com, and my name is spelled TonyCuckson. And you complete the subscription box at the top left. You are then asked to confirm your subscription, and once you do that, then you will receive regular weekly invitations that can become a progressive, practical series of instructions for living your once upon a time, happily ever after life experience. So until next week, remember, you were born with goodness and trust. Trust this, and trust this again. And when you have done that, do it again. This softens the stone. This means the voice in the stone, which is the flow of your life's energy, doesn't get stuck, doesn't get damned, and then doesn't have to scream. It becomes still and peaceful, and you live within and you shine from your magnificence. Have a wonderful week, and may you invite the radiant presence of love to shine through you. And in that way, you will know who you are, and you will invite your once upon a time, happily ever after life experience to be your experience.